So due to all these things, the term sustainability is emerging like anything nowadays, and it is very important for all the nations to make sustainable development a primary goal of their policies around the world. Yes, right. So it is a common signatory, or you can say everyone has signed a commitment towards the United Nations that they will make policies and do some changes, take some initiatives to help the climate change to come down, or even try to reduce the usage of natural resources and also help them to uh, recharge the resources. Like you might have heard that nowadays there is a very shortage of water in Bangalore, right? So this is the one uh, you can say one very drastic consequences of over industrialization and over consumerism, or neglecting the sustainable type of development. So for this, many United Nations or many nations are trying to use the term sustainability and environment, social and governance for their industries or other processes. While doing this, you have to make some measurements that how you are making those adjustments in your organizations, how you are doing this. You have to report it to somebody, and you have to measure what types of initiatives you have taken, what type of things you are doing in your organization. So for that, there is a term known as reporting. Sustainability reporting is being done all over the world as per the different standards. If we are talking about the Indian standards, then there is a standard which has been mandated by SEBI, that is Security Exchange Bureau of India, that it has drafted a framework known as BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting. That means if you are doing a business in India, then you have to follow some rules and regulations. There are many compliances which have been given, or rules have been provided by Indian government or many other institutions which have the capacity to do that. So there are BRSR is the Indian standard, and there is a one standard known as GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, which is internationally acclaimed and very comprehensive standard which is being used by the MNCs or good companies who want to do something related to the sustainable development. And now afterwards, there are many other frameworks are also there, like integrated reporting, SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, UNGC, United Nations Global Compact, CDP, etc. So all these reporting frameworks have some KPIs, key performing indicators, related to environmental, social, governance, or any other sustainable uh, topics. So every company have to provide those indicators related to their organization, what they are doing, how they are doing, how much they have done in the past 1 year or 2 years, and they have to set some targets according to that. And they have to provide those things as per the turnover of their companies. So there are many things which have been incorporated by these frameworks in their standard, so that no company can run from this, and they have to provide those data. There are also checks and balances. There may be some loopholes also, but still India have provided a good framework as per the Indian context. And if a company wants to really work in a sustainable way and wants to have a good vision towards the society, then they should follow this framework. Now, this slide shows some of the key performance indicators which are required, or from some of the sectors which are required by the companies to provide to SEBI, to the government, and they have to work on those sectors to improve their performance. Like first one is, we are going from left to right. First one is waste management policies. As Dr. Priyank have already mentioned that there are different types of waste management policies available in India, like e-waste, EPR, e-waste management, EPR management, solid waste management, then wet waste management, then different types of hazardous waste management. These types of management practices are already available in the Indian context as per the different rules and regulations. So you have to provide your data that how much plastic waste have been generated in your organization in the last 1 year, how much of that have been recycled, how much of that has been reused, and so on. Similarly goes for the hazardous waste, like how much of hazardous waste has been generated and to whom you have provided though that waste for disposal. And did you have done any type of checks or audits of that particular vendor who is going to dispose that hazardous waste? So these type of questions are being asked on the waste management policies in the BRSR framework. And from BRSR, it is basically ESG. These questions are also available or similar, almost similar in the GRI or any other sustainable frameworks also. Next, there is other section that relates to employee welfare and benefits. This portion is mostly concerns about the HR of any HR department of any company, like how what are the number of employees available in your company, what is the turnover ratio, how much how many employees have left your organization in the last 1 year, how many of them are female, how many workers are available, how many of them are female, how many female have been provided with maternity benefit, how many males have been provided with the paternity benefits, how many employees are there available who are specially able in your organizations, does your organization have accessible places for the differently able or specially able persons, which is the next topic. So there are many questions, how many EPF you have provided, how many insurance you have provided, how many claims you have provided. So these type of questions are being given in this sustainability framework. The third part was how much your place is accessible to the specially able persons. So these type of questions, these two sections generally concerns with the HR department. And the fourth part section is for the employee sanitization in the like how much trainings are being provided to your organization, organizational employees on different types of topics like POSH, anti-corrupt policies, business code of conduct, and many other good ethics and ethics points. So these types of things are being asked in this section. Next, there is other part that is called as governance part. Governance means how your organization is being governed by the top management and how you are recruiting a person who is being a member of the board of directors or is a part of the top management. Is there any qualification or criteria is being provided? How you are selecting those members? Do you providing any types of training on management or any types of training on the compliances rules to the top management also? So this the sustainability means not only giving the trainings to the junior employees or the middle or lower level of management. It also includes that the top management or the board of directors should also be given some types of training, like on business, how to do business, how to manage business, how to on the commercial awareness, on the new policies and guidelines of the of the country or the international best practices. So these types of trainings should be given to those also, and there should be some criteria on selection of the candidates for top management. Then there is accountability towards the environment. So this is the basic part which comes under the section of environmental, like how much of greenhouse gas you are emitting, how much pollution you are doing, how much of wastewater you are generating, and from that wastewater, how much of water you are getting back as a treated water and utilizing on some other reusing or utilizing, or how you are going to achieve the zero emission discharge ZED, zero liquid discharge. So these type of things have to be provided in the environmental part. Then there should be an inclusive work environment in which everyone have been given a transparent and ethical responsibilities, and everything should be provided on equal basis. There should be no discrimination. There should be no discrimination in the recruitment process. There should be no discrimination in the any type of promotion or giving leaves or providing any benefits. So these type of things should be there. And the last, there should be some CSR activities for the corporate social sectors who are thriving on your organizational part, or where your organization is being placed. Your nearby communities should be benefited by some of your organization business, as you are using some of the resources from the nearby communities like water, air, and all this. So you have to provide something to the social communities also. So these are the basic things these are the basic questions which are being asked on the sustainability part. I hope I am very much clear in this. Like, as you have seen, there are many questions which are being asked in the previous slide or in the sustainability frameworks are from the EHS field, that is environment, health and safety. Therefore, Dr. Priyank have already mentioned you that almost 70 to 80% of the key performance indicators that comes under the umbrella of sustainability are from the environmental, health and safety background. Therefore, it is a very common process along the corporate world that the person who is in charge of EHS, or the person who is taking care of the EHS of the organization, is being handed over the responsibility of sustainability development or the sustainable department of their organization. So
Mr. Anshu, just a minute. Apurva this side. I think Nishant is having some question. Yeah, Nishant.
Sir,
Yes, Nishant.
please repeat that part, fostering inclusive work environment.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, fostering inclusive work environment means the organization which have each organization have some work environment within their organization. So there should be no type of discrimination in the recruitment. There should be no type of discrimination in promotion. There should be no type of discrimination while while selecting any vendor also. Like if I am a company and I have to buy something from outside vendors, then there should be totally discrimination free process so that I can provide opportunity for the local or marginalized or even the women based MSMEs or that particular sectors who can be associated with my organization, and we can buy some products or services from them, and they can be benefited as they are within the local area of my organization, even if they are not being able to provide on a very competitive rates. As for the same things, there is a process in the government basically that when you are going to buy a service or product from outside, basically for the PSU or government agencies, then there is some limit that are out of 100% of the things you are buying from outside, you have to take at least 25 to 30% from the marginalized communities, from the MSMEs, from the women-based, women entrepreneurial companies, or from the companies in which SC, STs are directors or the top management, or from the companies having some special things within their organization. So each and every, it is not mandated that you have to take this thing from that organization only or from that vendor only, but you have to provide some opportunities to all those small vendors also. You have to provide opportunities to even entrepreneur who is having a single person company. You have to provide an opportunity to the women in your organization to promote. You have to provide the opportunity for specially able within your organization to get promoted or even to get recruited within your organization. You have to provide some basically quotas for different types of persons within your organization so that they can foster with your organization. When your organization is growing, you have to provide support to these marginalized sectors also. I hope I am clear. Okay. So while asking these questions, asking these key performance indicators from the companies or reporting to the government, the BRSR have made some framework, or the SEBI has made a framework known as BRSR, and under that BRSR framework, you have to provide some disclosures which are mandated by the government or SEBI. Like there are 3 different sections available in the framework. First one is section A. That means in the section A, the company have to provide some general disclosures about your organization, like what is the name, actual name, registered name, what is the company incorporation number, what is the account, and how much of turnover you have done in the last 1 year or 2 years. So this type of question have been asked in the section A, which are very general, and mostly these are available in the public domain also. Then there is next section, that is called section B, management and process disclosure. That means how much of it asks questions about the approach of your management, like what are the process you do whenever there is a R&D is in process, what are the process when you do when there is a complaint from any customer or any other organization. So this type of questions are being asked in the section B. And the main important part is section C, that is performance-based disclosure. So SEBI have mandated 9 different principles. They have made some 9 different principles. On each principles, they ask 2 type of questions. First one is essential. That means you have to provide the answers of those questions on a compulsory basis. And if you are not providing the answer, then you have to give a proper justification for that particular question. And the second part is leadership indicators. Means though these questions are voluntarily optional, you can provide the answer for those, or you cannot. If you don't want, you can omit those questions. But it is always advisable that you provide answers to the leadership indicators also, because that shows that how much a good commitment has been provided by the top management. So these are the 9 principles which we are talking about in the section 3. Principle 1 is business should be conducted and govern themselves in some ethical manner. That means do you have policies on anti-bribery? Do you have policies on cost? Do you have policies on ethical business conduct. So these type of questions are being asked on the principle 1. Principle 2 means business should provide goods and services in a manner that is sustainable and safe. That means if you are creating or manufacturing some products, then it should be provided in a good manner to the consumers. If for example, I am making a small burger and I am using a lot of plastic paper to wrap that and giving it to the consumer, because the plastic is not very expensive to me, is not very ethical and very sustainable. Even if it is very cheaper for me, I should be avoiding those plastic, or I should be using some paper or anything which is biodegradable and does not harm the environment. So these type of questions are being asked on in principle 2. Then there is principle 3, which asks that business should respect and promote the well-being of the employees. Remember the part which I have asked generally, I told you in that this part is mostly for the HR part. That your employees are the main part of your organization. You have to respect their well-being. You have to promote something that they can enjoy working in an organization. The working environment should be very good. It should be totally safe, and it should be very hygienic also. And it is also the requirement of Factories Act 1948. That the employer have to provide a very safe and hygienic workplace to the employees. So these questions are being asked in principle 3. Then there is principle 4, in which business should respect the interest of and be responsive to all of its stakeholders. That means all the stakeholders who have the say or interest in the business or organization, like NGOs, like government organizations, like police, like nearby hospital, nearby communities, there is a village nearby any organization, or even a small tea vendor also, if they have any interest in any particular organization, then the organization should be responsible enough to, so that the tea vendor have its say in their any type of management rule, or they can ask for anything. They can complain them that your organization is doing something which is not good for me, or which is not good for the nearby communities, or the environment, or the animals, or the cattle. So this type of thing should be there, that each and every you should identify all the stakeholders within your organization, outside your organization, around your organization, and you should communicate on a regular basis through different media with them. So you have to provide some means of communication. You have to have regular interaction with them and these things. In principle 5, a business should respect and promote human rights. That there are certain human rights, there are certain labor rights, there are certain things which are being already being provided from the international organizations or the national organizations, like child labor is prohibited, the person should be provided a good living living environment, the person should be provided with some time of relief, with some time of payment, what should be the minimum pay or wages for the any particular persons. So these things comes under principle 5. Principle 6 means the business should respect and make effort to protect and restore the environment. So this is the most important thing which is generally being done nowadays, because we are already in the era of climate change, and we are already facing a lot of troubles due to air pollution, due to water pollution, due to greenhouse gas emissions and everything nowadays. And you also might have heard the name of carbon. Nowadays it is very popular. So you have to be carbon neutral, and India have already committed to United Nations that we are going to be carbon neutral by 2070. So there are many things how we can be carbon neutral, how can we minimize our carbon footprint, how can we identify the improvement opportunities, or what are the things which we are doing for the betterment of this. So we have to understood how we can do this. Firstly, we have to measure what we are doing, how we are doing. So for that, there are different things like carbon footprint reporting, water footprint reporting, environmental footprint reporting. Then there is a new term known as LCA, life cycle analysis of any particular product, or that is also known as product footprint. That if I am producing a pair of shoes, then how much of water, how much of air, how much of greenhouse gases have been emitted during the production of that particular unit. So I have to make some corrections to restore the environment. That yes, around 100 liters of water have been used to make one pair of shoes. Then I have to recharge that 100 liter of water again into the ground, so that the water table doesn't get depleted. So this type of many things are there to save the environment and to restore the environment. Then there is principle 7, that comes when we are engaging with other, or you can say when a company is there and it has a very huge connections within the government or within the social media or within the other lobbies who are taking care of making compliances or making rules for the organizations. Then if I have that much of opportunity or I have that much of privilege to have a say or have a discussion during the compliance or during the discussion or drafting of any particular rule, then I should not be I should not understand towards my profit. I should be very responsible in advocating the policies. I should be very responsible towards the environment also. I should be very responsible towards the community or social national interest also. I should not look for my personal interest or my organizational interest. I should be providing some good information or some good advocacy in the policy formulation. Then there is principle 8, which basically discuss about the inclusive or equitable development, which I already told you that when I have my company is working in any particular area, then I have to make sure or ensure that all the small marginal MSMEs, companies or the vendors should be provided equal opportunity to work with me or being associated with me, so that they can foster along with my organization. It also help. It is also the same for the employees, all the persons who are associated from the third party with us. We have to provide equal opportunity to everyone. Then the last principle is the principle 9. Business should engage with and provide a value to the consumers in a responsible manner. That means if a consumer is buying a product or service from your organization, then you should be totally responsible with them. If you have to provide some after sales services to them, you should and the person should be able to complain you. The person should be able to connect with you if there is any concern with your products or services. And you have to take the regular feedbacks with them. You have to connect regularly with your consumers, even if it is your company is B2B or B2C or D2C. Any type of company have to understand that their consumer is one of the main part of their organization, and they have to provide a regular support and to their complaints, to their any other requirements, or even they have to ask from the ask for the feedback so that they can improve their particular products and services. So these are the 9 principles which are being asked in the sustainability frameworks in different types of sustainability frameworks. So ESG means environmental, social and governance. So in this slide you can understand what are the main topics or main indicators which are being discussed nowadays among the organization, that how we can improve or we can measure our impacts in these fields. Like in environment, there are the following topics are very interesting, or you can say very much required nowadays. First one is climate change strategy, biodiversity, water efficiency, energy efficiency, carbon intensity, and environmental management system. These are the things which are very much required. In the social part, there are equal opportunities, freedom of association, health and safety, human rights, customer and product responsibility, and child labor. These are the things you have to understand first, and you have to make correct, measure your impact, and try to collect or better your performance in these sectors. In the governance, it is business ethics, compliance, board independence, executive compensation, and shareholder democracy. So from the last few slides, you have understood that EHS is one of the most important part of the ESG. Almost 80% of the things comes under the umbrella of environment, health and safety. If you are very good in EHS part, then you can succeed in the sustainability part also. But the things are, you have to understand each and every topic. You have to understand the requirement of the present era and the compliance part of the national or international standards, and how you can develop some initiatives or strategy to identify the gaps or bottlenecks or gaps within your organization, and how you can fill those gaps. Although there are many problems available within the managements also, because they want to showcase that yes, we are doing very good thing in the sustainability part, but they do not want to spend in making their performance better, or even to identify the gaps within their organization. But as a organizational member or as an employee of any organization, we have to make some efforts. We have to, even sometimes we have to fight with the management to take some help from them, or to start any initiative so that our organization becomes more sustainable. This is the thing for which we all are doing work specifically to become more sustainable. These are the 17 sustainable development goals which are declared by United Nations, that we have, each country, each organization have to work towards some of these goals so that we can achieve all these by 2030. After 2030, we will have some different goals. We will have some notes, or we will have some reports on each and every goals, that how we are progressing, what are the good things we are doing, what are the areas where we have to improve, and how we can improve. Already every year these reports does come and provides an opportunity for everyone to understand that how we are doing this. These 17 goals are no poverty, zero hunger, good health, being, quality education, and all. Some organizations it is not basically mandatory for each and every organization to work for on all the 17 development goals, but it is very much advisable that if your organization is working on all the 17 goals, then there are chances that your company becomes more responsible, or even it also increases the standard value of your company. It makes that yes, my company, my organization is very much good, and we are a very responsible organization. And generally in today's era where the social media is very much active, it does helps in creating a very good brand value of your organization. For example, a Tata has a very good organizational brand value, and if we have to choose from any two companies, then there are very much chances that we are going to choose Tata, because we know that that particular organization very responsible and very sustainable. They are doing good things on others parts also. So some companies are working on few sectors, some few sustainable development goals, and some companies are working on each and every sustainable goal and development goals. So these are the 17 sustainable development goals, and I would request every one of you that all these, please go through all these sustainable development goals so that you can understand the requirement of these goals and how any organization is doing, or how a country as a whole or as a world as a whole, how we are progressing towards these goals. Apart from this sustainable development goals, there is one standard also available, that is called as IFC performance standards. IFC means International Finance Corporation. IFC performance standards, there are different 8 performance standards on which every organization is going to work, and it is mandated by the IFC that whoever is taking loan from International Financial Corporation and they are making any project in any part of the world, then they have to adhere to all those 8 performance standards which are being committed by the IFC to the United Nations. So there are many things. There are equator principles, there are other principles available, but mostly each and every thing comes from this sustainable development goals only. So once you have gone through this SDG partner and IFC performance standards, mostly you will learn a very good thing about the sustainability, and most of your understanding would be on a better page. As I have told you, these 17 SDGs are being propagated by United Nations. Similarly, for that, Indian BRSR have provided different 9 principles, and for each SDG there are different principles who are working. Like for the first SDG, that is no poverty, principle 3, principle 4 and principle 8 are in line with that SDG. Similarly, principle 2, 6, 7, 8 and 9 are in line with the SDG number 2. And if you go for the SDG number 13, that is climate action, principle 2, principle 6, 7 and 8 are in line with the SDG. So each and every SDG have some 1, 2 or more principles aligned with that particular goal. So for that sustainability part, how we can achieve, how we can do, how are we doing, or basically we have discussed about the sustainability stakeholder consultation. So there is a term known as materiality matrix or materiality assessment. In this, we go to identify how many stakeholders are there, the internal stakeholders, the external stakeholders, including all the NGOs, all the hospitals, whichever there are, all the organizations which are associated with us, vendors, the board of directors, if there is any trust, if there is any panchayat, if there is any village, if there is any society nearby our organization, or the employees and their workers, all this. So we have to identify all the stakeholders. We have to consult with all the stakeholders, like what are the things we are doing good in environment and what are the points we should be doing in the future. Similarly, with all the stakeholders, we have to discuss, we have to let them know that we are doing something, this type of thing, and we are planning these things. So how should we do? So the matrix, during the matrix, we have to identify two axes. First one is that particular topic or any subject is important to stakeholder or not. For example, for an NGO, the business or the profitability or the money is not that much important for any NGO. They require your support. They require social initiatives. They require they may require some land from your organization. They may require some manpower support from your organization, or they may require some materials from your organization. They don't bother about the profitability of your organization. Similarly, if there is any board of director, they will be more worried about the profitability of your organization. Similarly, employee of your organization would be more worried about the well-being of your employees, about the welfare of the employees or any other things. So each and every type of stakeholder have different point of view for your organization, and they have interest in different topics or subjects. For example, consumer is not worried about the profitability. He would be worried about the quality of your product. He would be worried about the price of your product. He would be worried about the availability of your product or services within their areas. So these type of things happens with each and every type of stakeholder. So the questions which we ask or during the interaction with the stakeholders, we have to ask what are the importance to them of any particular topic, like for GHG, for greenhouse gas emissions. What is it important for you or not? And if it is important, how much important it is for you? Similarly, we have to understand that yes, stakeholder is a part of our company, organization. We have to also understood that that particular part is profitable or it is of any importance to our organization or not. It may be very important for the stakeholder, but for the organization to survive, for the organization to become more sustainable, it may not be that much important. So during the questionnaire or during the interaction, you will come to know that which point is similarly or equally important for the stakeholder also and for the business also. Then that point would be the most material issues for your organization. And similarly, the second, third, fourth, and the least. In this way, you can identify which are the most important topics or most material topics for your organization, and you can work towards as per the priority of the topics. Understood? So I think this is the quite enough for the today. As far as the sustainability or ESG is concerned, if there is any question, you can ask me.
So Anshu, can you describe about the carbon footprint assessment in the ESG goals or finding the ESG goals?
Of course, sir. So what is carbon footprint? Basically, there are greenhouse gases which are being emitted during any type of activity which we are doing. Like when we are using electricity, there is some type of greenhouse gas being emitted at some source from where the electricity is being generated. Similarly, if we are using petrol or diesel for transportation, there is some type of greenhouse gas are being emitted from our vehicles. So any type of activity which requires some type of fuel to burn, emits different types of greenhouse gases as per the particular fuel. Then if we want to reduce our carbon footprint, because as you know that the greenhouse gas are the most important gases which are responsible for the warming of our planet or for the regular climate change. So we have to identify that those gases are being emitted by us and what are the activities which we are doing and how much of GHG is being emitted by my particular activity. For example, if my company is working in a manufacturing sector, then and I'm using a diesel furnace for the boiling of water, or I require some boiler and I'm using diesel as a fuel for that particular thing, and I'm using a lot of diesel for that particular boiler plant. If I am using 1000 liter of diesel, then it would be emitting some amount of greenhouse gas in the environment. And to calculate that, International Panel of Climate Change (IPCC) have provided some factors, emission factors, that 1 liter of diesel would be emitting that much XYZ amount of GHG into the environment. Then we have to calculate that 1000 liter of diesel would be equal to how much amount of GHG. For the GHG to measure, there is a unit known as carbon CO2e, that is carbon dioxide equivalent. There are different types of gases in the GHG like methane, carbon monoxide, NO2, CFCs and all. So yes, Bhuvnesh, I was just letting you know how we are going to calculate the GHGs. So for those, yes, ton CO2 equivalent. So this is the basic unit to understand the GHG. We cannot identify that this much amount of CH4, this much amount of carbon monoxide, or this much amount of CFCs or HFCs are being emitted by my organizations. But to have a standard value across the world, we are using same unit that is known as tons CO2e. So as per the IPCC, they have provided, as per their research and experience, they have provided some carbon emission factors for each type of fuel that is being burned within your organizations. And also they have given some different types of scopes, like scope 1, 2 and 3. Scope 1 means anything which is being burned within my organizations, or I am responsible totally for the burning of that particular fuel. For example, I have given you that 1000 liter of the fuel is being burned by my organization for the boiler is directly under my control. So that comes under the scope 1 of my organization. Similarly, if my organization is having a fleet of buses and for the regular commutation of my employees or any other type of transportation like trucks, I have 10 trucks for the daily transportation, and how much amount of diesel is being used for those trucks is also comes under the scope 1 of my organization. I have to just calculate that this much amount of diesel is being used or being burned by my organizations in transportation part. Then we have to calculate that with the given factors of diesel, that this much amount of GHG is being emitted in particular period of time. Similarly, if I am using CNG buses or CNG vehicles or CNG generators also, nowadays there are gas generators also. So if I am using those equipments in my organization, then I have to use CNG as a fuel and I have to utilize the CNG factor which is being provided by the IPCC. Yes, Nishant?
Sir, in the first slide, we saw that there are many standards, climatic related standards, TCFD, GRI. But in this BRSR, I saw that in Principle 6 is mainly focused on environment like carbon neutrality, LCA. How come this the BSSR is like can you tell me the comparison between the TCFDs and GRI and BSR, how it is different from other standards? Because TCFD and these are more related to carbon related disclosures, but BRSR as a whole is like also included HR and these things.
Yeah. So basically, TCFD is more interested or more focused on the carbon related or the climate change part only. But the BRSR is more focused on the overall sustainability of your organization or overall sustainability of the as a nation. Okay, so as I have already told you that ESG, environmental, social and governance are the three main pillars of the sustainability umbrella. There are many things that may come under the pursuit of sustainability. So as the name itself suggests that BRSR is for the sustainability part only and TCFD is mostly for the emission part only of the carbon only. They also doesn't focus more on the environmental part of like water, like other part also. So it was a very good question that TCFD is, and even the CDP, Carbon Disclosure Project. CDP is a very internationally known framework, but it also more focused on the carbon footprint, or you can say GHG footprint only, emissions only. But the most comprehensive one is the GRI, Global Reporting Initiative. It is the most comprehensive and similar. During the formulation or drafting of the BRSR principles, all the management or the committee gone through all the international standards being followed or the good points of any particular standard. So they have chosen all the points from the different standards and made that sustainability framework as per the Indian context, which can be practically applicable on the Indian landscapes. So there are many things which can be in GRI or TCFD, but they are not in BRSR. But as a whole, the BRSR standard is almost 90 to 95% equal as per the international standards, and it is a very good comprehensive standard. You can relate it as a Constitution of India, which during the formulation of the Constitution of India, what the management, what the committee has done, they have chosen all the good points from the different constitutions of the world. Similarly, during the formulation of the BRSR, they have chosen good points from all the different standards across the world and mandated it for the top 1000 listed companies in India as at present. And surely it will be mandatory for all the companies working in India in next 5 to 10 years. Because, yes, sir.
I would like to add, Nishant, for more clarity, whenever we talk about the GRI, CDP, or it could be IIRS or SASB or TCFD, which we are talking, we have to be look into how much it is accepted by the organization or industries. And if you go into the history of those regulations, I think GRI commences in 97, right? It starts in 97 and TCFD starts only in 2017, right? GRI talks about all the three verticals, environment, social and governance. TCFD only talks about the environment and governance. It didn't call about the social part. So, and also, it's a basically a private organization set up to attract multiple industries to create some revenue. they are not more about the compliances or environmental compliances and social compliance. They are more to earn the money as well. तो बहुत ज्यादा वो ऐसा कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं. देन एक्सेप्टेंस मींस यूरोपियन कंपनीज थोड़ा सा किसी दूसरे स्टैंडर्ड को फॉलो करते हैं, यूएस वाले कुछ करते हैं. इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में क्या है कि हमारे पास सब कुछ मिक्स था. So we try to understood all the applicable and available things, and then we came out with a one standard which we called as a BRSR. So BRSR is more user friendly in terms of a Indian context, and it's more visionary in terms of our own requirement, right? Like GRI is more focused for the European and American companies' benefits. So we have to be look into our benefits. We are a growing country. So if we follow GRI and others, so our company could not reach at that level. So that's why we created this one. So every standard is having own set of the requirement, on certain support by the leading businesses and industries to support their continent industries. बहुत कुछ चलता है ना, ग्लोबल प्रोस्पेक्ट में देखेंगे तो बहुत कुछ चलता है, बहुत सारी डायनेमिक्स चलती है. So we want to be improve our businesses, our industries instead of European businesses. तो वो थोड़ा सा हमें समझना पड़ेगा इन कंपैरिजन ऑफ ऑल द अवेलेबल स्टैंडर्ड्स. क्या निशान?
You are on mute, Nishant.
सॉरी. किसी भी हम वेबसाइट्स पे किसी कंपनी वेबसाइट पे देखते हैं तो ज्यादातर उनके सस्टेनेबिलिटी रिपोर्ट्स में TCFD रिपोर्ट्स हमें देखने को मिलती है मोस्टली. तो मोस्टली मैंने GRI रिपोर्ट ग्लोबल रिपोर्टिंग इनिशिएटिव को मैंने देखा नहीं ज्यादातर. तो क्या इसका कुछ रिलेशन है किसी और चीज से, या ऐसा मेनली ज्यादातर TCFD पे फोकस करती है कंपनी?
नहीं, देखो निशांत, इसमें क्या है कि मोस्टली ये रिक्वायरमेंट किसकी तरफ से आती है उस पर डिपेंड करता है. इफ वी आर एन इंडियन कंपनी, देन हमारे ऊपर रिक्वायरमेंट किसकी आती है? फर्स्ट हमारे ऊपर सीबी की आती है. एंड इट इज नॉट मैंडेटरी कि कोई भी पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज मेकिंग रिपोर्ट ऑन वन स्टैंडर्ड ओनली. There are many organizations who are making report on TCFD also, on BRSR also, on DRI also. So from where the requirement has came, like मैंने आपको बताया था कि IFC ने परफॉर्मेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स के अपने कुछ स्टैंडर्ड्स बनाए. तो एक एग्जांपल लेके चलते हैं. मैं एक लेंडर हूं, मतलब मैं कोई कंपनी हूं, XYZ कंपनी हूं जो निशांत को लोन देने के लिए आ रहा है. एंड निशांत के पास कोई एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट है, कोई से भी XYZ आप मान लीजिए, आप एग्जांपल लीजिए सोलर प्रोजेक्ट का. आपको एक सोलर प्रोजेक्ट लगाना चाहते हैं आपके एरिया में 100 मेगावाट का. So you don't have money for, you will get some loan from any particular bank, and you are coming to me. आप मेरे पास आते हो कि सर मुझे लोन चाहिए, ये मेरा प्रोजेक्ट है, मेरे पास ये टीम है, ये मेरी कैपेबिलिटीज है. सो विल यू प्रोवाइड मी द लोन? तो मैं आपको आपका फर्स्ट तो आपका प्रोजेक्ट देखूंगा. इफ योर प्रोजेक्ट इज वेल इनफ और गुड इनफ फॉर मी, देन आई विल प्रोवाइड यू सम ऑफ द लोन. बट लोन के साथ साथ मैं आपको कुछ कंडीशंस भी दूंगा कि you should be have these standards within your organizations. आपको ह्यूमन राइट्स को फॉलो करना है, आपको ये फॉलो करना है, आपको ये फॉलो करना है, आपको ये फॉलो करना है. सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन मैं कहाँ से पैसा लेके आया हूँ. कोई भी बैंक होता है वो भी कैसे पैसा लेके आया होगा, या तो वर्ल्ड बैंक से, या फिर यूनाइटेड नेशन से, या फिर एशियन डेवलपमेंट बैंक से, जहां से भी वो पैसे, या तो RBI से, कहीं ना कहीं से वो पैसा लेके आया होगा. तो उसके ऊपर भी कुछ कंप्लायंसेज होंगे कि आपको ये करना है, आपको पैसा ऐसी जगह पे ही इन्वेस्ट करना है जो कि एनवायरमेंट, सोशल गवर्नेंस और इन पर्टिकुलर स्टैंडर्ड्स को फॉलो करेगा. अदरवाइज यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट द मनी फ्रॉम मी, और मैं आपका पैसा वापस ले लूंगा. सो मैं आपको ये कंडीशन दूंगा कि आप BRSR को फॉलो करो, या GRI को फॉलो करो, या इसको फॉलो करो. और इवन कई बार ऐसा भी होता है, आपके पास डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स होते हैं. एक इन्वेस्टर ने बोला आप ये करो, एक इन्वेस्टर ने बोला ये करो, और आपकी जिस जगह पे आप बना रहे हो वहां के स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने बोला कि आप ये करो. तो कई बार आपके पास 3-3, 4-4 कंप्लायंसेस होती हैं, एंड यू हैव टू फॉलो ऑल दोज कंप्लायंसेस सिंस यू आर प्रोजेक्ट प्रोपोनेंट, और आपने कहीं से लोन लिया हुआ है. आप कुछ इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, उनको आपको फुलफिल करना है उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स को. So as per the requirement, you will choose the standard for your reporting and you will choose the topics जहाँ पे आपको ज्यादा फोकस करना है. Because as a project proponent आप सिर्फ प्रोजेक्ट पे ध्यान दोगे, आप सोशल पे इतना शायद ध्यान ना दो, आप शायद एनवायरमेंट पे इतना ध्यान ना दो, क्योंकि आपके लिए बिजनेस उस टाइम पे ज्यादा मोस्ट प्रायोरिटी है. बट अगर मैं आपको प्रेशराइज नहीं करूंगा, मैं आपको कंप्लाई करने के लिए नहीं बोलूंगा, देन यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू दैट. इसीलिए आजकल ESG फाइनेंसिंग भी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. जो भी प्रोपोनेंट होता है वो देखते हैं कि लोन लेंडर्स जो भी जितने भी होते हैं वो चेक करते हैं कि आपका जो एनवायरमेंटल एंड सोशल मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम है या नहीं, आप उसको कैसे फॉलो करेंगे. आप इवन प्रोजेक्ट लगाने से पहले आपको एनवायरमेंटल एंड सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट भी करना होता है कि मैं जो भी प्रोजेक्ट लगाऊंगा उसमें फ्रॉम द प्लानिंग स्टेज टू अप टू द डीकमीशनिंग स्टेज में कौन कौन से मेरे एनवायरमेंटल और सोशल इम्पैक्ट हो सकते हैं, both positive and negative. And if negative impact is there, then how I am going to mitigate that negative impact of my project, और मैं उसको कैसे ठीक करूंगा और क्या मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम मैंने बनाया है. तो जब तक आप ये पूरी प्लानिंग नहीं करोगे, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट द मनी
So,
फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टर.
Anshu and Nishant, in short, Nishant, just to answer before we take the question from the others, TCFD जो है वो मेजरली इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए डिजाइन किया है या फाइनेंशियल या इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज के लिए डिजाइन किया है, इसलिए यू विल सी लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स ओवर देयर. बट जो GRI है विच इज मोर टूवर्ड्स द कॉर्पोरेट सस्टेनेबिलिटी or all the three verticals, social, environment and governance. TCFD is typically for the environment and governance. तो वो फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट्स पे है और ये जो सोशल भी साथ में जुड़ जाता है. सो इसीलिए जो एक्सेप्टेंस है लॉन्ग टर्म बेसिस पे वो GRI गाइडलाइंस की जाते हैं. बट किसी को लोन लेना, जैसे अंशु ने बताया, फंड लेना है, पैसा लेना, तो वहां से थोड़ा सा फोर्स हो गया इंडस्ट्री को कि भाई आपको TCFD से जो है लेना मैंडेटरी है. सो दिस इज व्हाट. या अदर्स यू हैव सम पॉइंट प्लीज.
सर एक्चुअली क्या था ना, अंशु सर ने एक पॉइंट क्लियर किया था सोलर सेक्टर में. सर वी आर वर्किंग एज अ सेफ्टी प्रोफेशनल इन सोलर सेक्टर. बेसिकली क्या रहता है ना सर, इन्वायरमेंटल कंप्लायंस के लिए सोलर प्रोजेक्ट में क्या रहता है कि जैसे सर हमारा कोई ऐसा लैंड हम ले रहे हैं ना, चूज कर रहे हैं, जैसे कोई ग्रीनरी एरिया है तो फॉरेस्ट एरिया, तो वहां पे क्या रहता है कि आपको 25 ईयर्स के लिए सर गवर्नमेंट का जो डिपार्टमेंट रहता है उसके साथ में एक एग्रीमेंट करना होता है. उस एग्रीमेंट में EHS से रिलेटेड और ESG से रिलेटेड बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज होती हैं कि आपका मॉड्यूल कैसा होगा और काफी चीजें, जो भी वेस्ट जनरेट होगा उसके लिए सर जब आपका प्लांट लग जाएगा एट द एंड ऑफ द टाइम उसमें से मतलब अगर आपका जनरेशन अच्छा हो रहा है तो 4 to 3 करोड़ सर मंथली इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूनिट्स पे डिपेंड करता है. वो पैसा फिर गवर्नमेंट को देते हैं, फिर वो पैसे वगैरह दे करके इन्वायरमेंटल कंप्लायंस पूरा करते हैं सर हम लोग यहाँ पे. अब जैसे हमारे प्लांट से कोई भी वेस्ट निकल रहा है, लाइक इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वेस्ट है, वाडियस वेस्ट, तो उसको करने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं सर, हमारी कंपनी तो ये चीज कर नहीं सकती, इसीलिए हम लोग थर्ड पार्टी वेंडर हायर करते हैं सर इसके लिए.
Right, others. Thanks for the input.
थैंक्स सर.
So, team, I think we are just ending the this session on the sustainability part. I can understand it's a very lengthy and subjective thing. Need a lot of homework to understand this complex subject. But I'm sure you may get some insight about the ESG as best we can deliver today. And in totality, you have to be read environment, social and governance part. In environment, what I tried to educate you in terms of the waste, in terms of the emissions, in terms of the energy consumption, in terms of the water consumption, different waste compliances, different environmental compliance. So everything will come under the environmental part, and all the safety related, all the human resource related issues, all the production related issues will come, supply chain will come under the social part. And governance में बात करेंगे तो related to the ESG or climate related risk, what is our anti-corruption or ethics policies, data management and its privacy, and corporate policies and governance. ये सब जो है गवर्निंग पार्ट में है कि जो मैनेजमेंट है वो जो है responsible rahe, accountable rahe in terms of the governing part. So this is a overall picture of the ESG. But if you look into, if you don't have the expertise on the environmental part, which I try to explain in the last 2.5 days, you can't be a good ESG expert. क्योंकि सारा सब कुछ तो EHS में कवर हो रहा है, सेफ्टी भी उसी में कवर हो रही है, और बाकी जो बचता है वो पूरा का पूरा कॉर्पोरेट गवर्निंग पार्ट है, जो कि एक EHS वाले का कोई रोल उसमें नहीं होता जाता है. वो जो है दैट इज मोर टुवर्ड्स द गवर्निंग पार्ट और ह्यूमन रिसोर्स रिलेटेड पार्ट. या आई थिंक देयर इज सम क्वेश्चन.
क्वेश्चन नहीं है, आई थिंक वो मटेरियल मांग रहे हैं.
Share the materials. Yeah, sure. We'll share the material. No problem. We'll share all the presentation. That's not an issue. Right. Yeah, Kevna, over to you.
Yes, sir. If we have any questions, then we can ask, we can sum up on the day. Mommy! Any questions?
There is no question, Kevna. We can close it. And what is tomorrow schedule? Who's going to be what?
Tomorrow we have a first session of Dr. Apurva and the second session of Miss Rashmi.
Perfect. So please make your notes. We will share the presentations which we delivered yet. And I'm sure, Kevna, you are taking the attendance of all the
Yes, sir. Yes.
attendees, and just make a comparatives on the everyday, who's there and how much they are attentive, how much they are showing their interest, and so that we can take care it further. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.